Joining us now, Tony Jeff, President and CEO of Innovate Mississippi. Tony, off to a great start, another event, 25th year, right?
It is. It's our 25th year. We've been so excited to have the group gathered, really even starting off Monday night with investor dinners. We had investors from 8 states come together to hear companies pitch yesterday, and we're really, really excited about this event.
I was just telling the audience about how this has evolved through the years, and just, walking through the corridor here where all the exhibitors are set up, these budding entrepreneurs with all these great ideas that I think are likely to be commercialized and monetized and stay here in Mississippi and hire people and produce economic activity and value for not only the state but for the entire world. A lot of these products, these technology products, end up becoming used across the planet.
Absolutely, and we really try to challenge the companies to be the biggest in the world at what they do, not the biggest in their region of the state or even in the state. So I think that's part of it, and if you ever want to wander around somewhere you can hear a lot of pitches, they're always willing to pitch anybody on what they're doing. So that's really the danger in being here, but it's also part of the excitement of the event.
And in addition to the innovators, also got prospective partners that they may need. You've got legal counsel, law firms, a financial institution, investment bankers, private equity firms, consulting organizations, and everything that a startup business might need. And that's really the goal of Innovate Mississippi, is to bring all these partners together to help the ecosystem thrive.
Absolutely. And so, sometimes we see a company that comes in that sort of has almost everything ready, but in Mississippi, we're typically having to help connect them with those folks that they need to grow and to become an investor-ready deal. And so we're really, really excited. We just announced in a session a moment ago, we're actually going to have a really good checklist where they're going to be able to go through, but then we're going to have, through some funding we've secured, ability to give them some vouchers to fix problems. So if they need legal, accounting, or financial assistance, we even can give some of those companies vouchers if that's really their hurdle to being investor-ready.
And it truly does. When you think about starting up a business, you need all those various areas of expertise. You need an ecosystem of partners to really help you take care of those issues so that you can focus on your core business. And so oftentimes you see these entrepreneurs that try to do it all, and it's impossible. It really is, and they're better served if they can focus on where their skill sets are and help and work on growing their businesses and leave some of these other issues to professional partners to help them.
Yes, and I think part of what our role is really to have us be a guide through that process.
Yeah.
So, we really hope people don't come to us after one particular thing, because what we'd rather say is, what do you want to do? And then let us help guide you through the ways you can get assistance to do that. And so we were just in there with the group talking about the Small Business Innovative Research Program on the federal government side. And it was so complicated that we would really want to call that guy, Gerard, in on anything that could be an SBIR opportunity. So there's a lot of things like that where we really just start with, what do you want to do? And then we can help connect the resources they need to do that.
We're at the Westin in downtown Jackson for the event. So tell the folks about the overall agenda for the event.
Yes, so this really is a gathering for the entire ecosystem here. We have partners from all over the state, and as I mentioned, investors from really all over the country that come together, and we kind of focus a couple different areas. One would be company pitches. Like yesterday, these companies have been going through a 12-week accelerator. We're pitching to investors. We got another session just wrapping up now of companies, later stage companies pitching. And then our keynote, Kevin Decker with Ocean Aero, is going to talk about how they moved their company from California to Mississippi in order to really be able to do it here and to take advantage of the resources that we have here. And so that's kind of been the theme, is you can do it here throughout this conference.
And Kevin will be joining MidDays later on the program at 11:35. He's slated to be on with us. So we enjoyed a little presentation from Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann. Also presented him with an award for his support of the startup ecosystem and the entrepreneurial landscape here in the state of Mississippi. What did you think of his remarks? Anything get you there?
I thought it was great. He did a recap of some of the success stories here recently, but it's been really interesting because we started working most closely with Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann when he was Secretary of State, because he had a really active Secretary of State role in trying to help with business registration, simplification, and a lot of those things. So we were really working with him directly when that activity was happening. And fortunately, mean, that's now probably 8-10 years ago he started speaking at the conference breakfast and has continued that as he's become lieutenant governor.
Yeah, so he did a little overview of the numerous economic development investments that have been made in the state of Mississippi, really just in the past 2-3 years, which are significant. And honestly, I think the entrepreneurial landscape and that ecosystem, it benefits from when these major companies come in and make these sorts of investments. There's lots of economic outgrowth that occurs as a result of that.
It does, absolutely. And so, one of the things we have to is each of these companies come in, they often will have trailing spouses and things like that, and a lot of those will be founders and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And then some of their employees will choose to be entrepreneurs. One of the things that we always work with these bigger companies is to try to focus on entrepreneurship even within bigger organizations, so that they're not seen that as a challenge to what they're doing, but instead if they've got entrepreneurial employees, they're just going to be better companies.
We used to call that entrepreneurship, by the way. So, but I agree, and so I think the future is bright. He highlighted that. He talked about our financial condition here in the state, which is honestly it's stellar. We've been paying off debt, producing surpluses, so we're in good shape. He kind of issued a bit of a warning that with the federal government generating $2 trillion deficits, it wouldn't be so shocking if a lot of the money that flows from the federal government into the state starts to decline, and we've got to be in good shape here from a fiscal and financial perspective in the state to be able to absorb that and withstand that. And so he's thinking about that. But he does have a commitment to innovation and the innovation sector, which is what we're all about here at Innovate Mississippi. Any of these newbies that kind of come to mind, Tony, you wanted to highlight? I mean, it seems like every year there's just some great ideas you see that come to the conference and are pitching investors to get going. What do you think?
Well, so literally some of the ones that have just started up here, in the last several months. Yesterday we had a really cool company, Food Scout, that lets you sort your online food orders. You can sort by delivery time or price, or you can look for a fish taco and see who serves
That's
that
cool.
And then have it sorted. Another company, Home Tours Pro, that does the video in the home real estate area. And others, it's sort of another company, Bloom Tech, and that has a app that basically lets you get rid of the keyboard, get rid of the clipboard when you go show up at the doctor's office. So there's always those kind of companies doing interesting things. And then, heck, some of these companies that are doing the bigger pitches now were in that same boat, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to see them grow like that.
So when you see them sort of pop up on the scene, how do you engage with them at Innovate Mississippi, and what services do you provide?
Well, literally, and all of ours, thankfully, is provided free of charge to the entrepreneurs. But we have a Coach and Connect model. We come in and say, what do you want to do? And then along that path, we might even in the first meeting suggest, well, at this point, you'll be eligible for this type of thing. At this point, you might be able to get investor funding, but let's walk down the path with you, pull in resources, a lot of mentors, too. We really focus a lot on trying to get those folks who already know how to do these things on board with the teams so that they have the right rounding of their team.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Innovate Mississippi has an impressive track record of bringing these from idea to action, as I like to say, where their dream is realized, the company is created and formed, they start producing whatever their goods and services are, producing value for society and making some money.
Well, and that's been part of it. I mean, we're sort of like a third grade teacher, maybe fourth grade teacher. We can't quite take credit when these awesome companies turn into really great things, but we're part of that pipeline. We're part of what they do usually from the beginning when they have a great idea and they don't really know quite how to get it together and get it connected with investors. That's really our main role, is at that stage.
And it's critical, and lots of times you find them with a great idea that just needs some coaching, some help, some mentoring that you provide, and maybe they're just kind of static, maybe even floundering a little bit, but you guys can help them out and really help them realize their goal, their dream.
Yes, and I think that's been an interesting thing, too. Post-pandemic, a lot of folks aren't sitting on the sidelines like they used to.
It's true.
I mean, a lot of folks had an idea in their head for years and years. The pandemic sort of made them think, maybe I need to go do this. So that's been part of the fun, is these folks that had an idea are now trying to turn it into reality.
But a major point we need to make is you can do it right here in the state of Mississippi.
And, of course, our investments and funding comes from all over, but I really do think that's been the case. And when our companies are pitching to investors from all over the country, they do ask the question, can you grow your company in Mississippi? Can you get the people you need and all those other elements? But they're if anything, trying to comb through the deals in Mississippi because they figure those have all been, combed through a lot in California and elsewhere.
Plenty of opportunity, though. It's so exciting. Tony, great job. Appreciate you coming on the program. Looking forward to visiting with you a little bit later after the show. Thanks a lot,
thank
Tony.
you for having me.
Yep. Folks, we're stepping aside for a break right now. At 10:50, we've got Seth Power, the founder and CEO of Tribly. Stay with us. We got Representative Fred Shanks. That's right. Today at 11:05. We're coming right back. The Element Wealth Studio has been relocated to the Westin in downtown Jackson. We're at the Accelarate Conference on Technology for Innovate Mississippi.